What's up, guys? Welcome to your spine snack. This spine snack, quick mobility drills is going to be really boring. Spine stuff is not the flashiest. You don't get into a big stretch. It's very boring and tedious stuff, but it's crucial to do. I hesitate doing this stuff virtually because even in person, teaching how to get your spine to move correctly is really hard. And the hands-on portion of this, it makes the biggest difference. But what we can do is we can use a couple different things. You're gonna need a pen today in order for you to try this stuff at home and try to get intuitive with your spine, okay? The big thing with the spine is that we need to look at the vertebrae as a whole. So you have your whole spine, but each individual vertebrae acts as its own individual joint, okay? So it's not one big joint. There's not three separate joints, even though the lumbar, thoracic, and cervical all kind of have the same size vertebrae within them. We need to look at each individual vertebrae in that the joints in through there and create range of motion and proper workspace within those segments, okay? And that's what we're gonna try to do today, just bring some intuition to those smaller muscles in there. Unlike the rest of the body, as we know, like when we're doing shoulder and hip stuff, we always look for rotation first. Spine is completely opposite, okay? Without any sort of flexion and extension, the vertebrae can't rotate properly in there, all right? So you see people doing these, trying to open their spine up, that stuff doesn't work, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're going to work individually within the spine, try to bring some awareness to the smaller multifidi, rotator muscles within there, and then we're gonna get some hinge point training in, and then we'll do some global spine work that'll have some rotational capacity to it, okay? But the number one thing when we're thinking about your spine is that it's gotta flex and extend, and it's gotta flex and extend at each individual joint all the way up your spine, okay? So grab your pen, let's lie down on our back. And for this, what I want you guys to do is we're gonna, again, just try to bring some awareness to how our spine feels and works, and get some smaller muscles to really wake up here, okay? So obviously we have our pelvis here. What I want you guys to do is take your pen and put it just above your pelvis, right underneath there, okay? So if you don't have a pen, an eraser, anything like that works. You don't want to put a tennis ball in there because it would be up too high. All we want to do here is use this pen as a cue and try to just activate the muscles with right where the pen is, okay? So all I'm gonna do is keep everything nice and still all up my body, and you're not gonna be able to see this because it's very subtle, but I want you guys to try it and think about it on your own. Is I'm gonna, where the pen is on my spine, I'm gonna try to press down into it. So that's flexion. And then I'm gonna try to extend just at that point and try to pull my spine off the pen. And then I'm gonna press down into it. And again, we're trying not to let any part of the body move from there. And extend, and just explore this, see how it feels. Your brain's gonna start working, trying to activate the exact right muscle. Try not to move 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches up from the pen. Try to just press just into the pen, and then just lift off the pen. And then from here, we'll take that pen, we'll just scoot it up 2 or 3 inches. Now we're kind of in that LT junction area. From here, press down into the pen, and just lift off it. So as we work up higher, that pelvis shouldn't move, our rib cage should stay still. Just move that one little bit where that pen is. Try to crush it, and then try to lift off of it. So this is just hinge point training here, okay? What we want to look for within the spine, and keep working through these flexion and extensions, is if we're in total flexion or total extension or cat or cow, is there any flat areas of the spine? And if there's flat areas, that means that there's no individual motions through those spines, and that's going to create some problems and probably some pain in those areas. All right, let's walk the pen up a little bit higher. As we get up into the rib cage, we start losing a little bit of range of motion, so this is going to become a little bit tougher. So right where the pen is, press into it and pull off of it. Don't let that lower back move. Keep everything nice and still. You can even put your thumb and your pinky on your rib cage and pelvis. Make sure those guys don't move. Pull off the pen. Press into the pen. Pull off the pen. Press into the pen. 2 more. Pull off. You might get some cramping up in here, all totally normal. Very, again, mindless type stuff, but stuff that we need to add in more often than not. You know, you're only as old as your spine moves. Last one, let's work all the way up into our thoracic spine. Same thing, press into it. Try to just activate those muscles. Again, pelvis, ribcage not moving. And then lift off of it. Now I'm getting a cramp there. That's a good sign. Means I need to work on my T-spine a little bit more. Press into it. Lift up. Press. And lift up. Excellent, guys. Let's get into our hands and knees, just in the quadruped position. And now what we can do, because we've individually warmed up each of these joints here, we should be able to take that intuition and put it into a segmented cat-cow, all right? So we're gonna start in quadruped position. And the very first thing I want you to do, as if we're laying down on our back and we're doing the same thing we were just doing, everything stays nice and still. Just point your tailbone up to the sky and then hold there, okay? So now we've got that. We've just lifted up off the pen if we're on our back, right? And then keep that extension and move up to the next joint. And then into the lower back. And then the mid back starts to move. And then you get into your mid upper back. Chest starts to come up. Chin starts to look forward, and we're in extension here. Keeping the chest right where it is, we're going to do the same thing coming into flexion. Try to move each joint on their own, each vertebrae on their own. Chest stays right here. Just tuck the pelvis underneath. Subtle motion, and then next joint up. Try to bring the front of your pelvis to the front of your rib cage. Mid back. Upper back. Press that spine through the ceiling. Keep tucking the pelvis under. Not trying to drive through our hands too much here, because we want to move through our spine and not just through our scaps. Trying to get thoracic flexion, not scapular protraction. Let's go one more each way. Point the tailbone to the sky. Mid back. 1 vertebrae at a time. And take that know-how that we built by pressing the pen into the ground into moving each individual vertebrae through our cat-cows. So from here we're going to get into flexion, tucking the pelvis as if we're pressing into the pen on our backs. Low back, LT junction, chest stays up. Fight to keep that chest up. Thoracic, chest comes down. Press your thoracic into the sky. Don't drive through the hands too much. Tuck the chin. We got one more. Keep the thoracic spine pressed up towards the ceiling. Point tailbone to sky. Low back. Mid back. As if we're trying to lift off the pen here. Slowly moving all the way up the spine. Awesome. So now that we've trained our hinge points, it's as if we trained internal rotation for our hip of our shoulder, okay? So now we can train the whole motion. We'll just get into a global spine card, okay? We'll go 3 each way. What I want you guys to do, grab a yoga block, ball, anything that you have. Let's create some tension here. Let's get some high effort cars here, right? Same thing we're doing with that cat-cow. I want you to get down into flexion, but segmentally, okay? So nothing's gonna move. I'm gonna tuck my chin. Thoracic spine flexes forward, down into my lumbar spine. This is our starting point. From here, rotate as far to the left as you can. Don't let your pelvis move. Take your left shoulder, drop it back down behind you, and start to couple that motion with extension, trying to bend as far backwards as you can. Straight on holds here. From this position, again, we're segmentally extended back. I'm gonna rotate as far to the right as I can. Drop right shoulder down. Flex all the way around. Again, segmentally flex 1 vertebrae at a time. Scrape all the way across. We got 2 more going left. Drop left shoulder. Segmentally extend back 1 vertebrae at a time. Finish in full extension. Rotate, laterally bend, flex. Last one. Rotate, laterally bend, extend, draw a nice big circle, segmentally flex all the way down, tick-tock to the right. So we're going right, same motion, drop right shoulder, segmentally flex all the way back, starting lumbar up into the thoracic, rotate. Laterally bend, segmentally flex. 2 more reps. Right, laterally bend. Extend, chest up towards the ceiling. So you see the yoga block's pointing straight up for me. That's what we're looking for. Rotate, drop your shoulder, flexing down and through. 1 more. Rotate right, drop right shoulder, chest up towards the ceiling, laterally bend and rotate, and flexing all the way down. Awesome, guys. That's some really quick spine work, all really good stuff there. Again, just getting the awareness of how our spine moves and how each little part moves is a key in keeping our spine healthy, all right? A suggestion for you guys would be to take a picture of what your cat-cow looks like and send it over to me, and then we can play around with what exact hinge points we need to work on, okay? So we can see if your lower back is nice and flat, if your upper back's flat. That way we can do these spine drills on the ground with the pen, and that's gonna really help wake that stuff up and get that spine moving better.